Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and I went from driving a Toyota Prius, not a bad car, but not that fancy, to now driving a Mercedes, all right, Mecedes GLA Class 250. And it's like, for example, being a kid again, going to my rich friend's parents' house and being like, yo, this stuff is so fancy. Like, this is so cool. It's like a massive upgrade for me, but in reality, not that great for the environment, let's be real. However, though, although you guys and my friends know me as Mr. Frugal today, when I was 19, I wasn't Mr. Frugal, yo. I was Mr. Liability. Everything I bought was a liability. And in honesty, my dream was always to actually own a Mercedes Benz. It was actually in 2010. It was a car and it was red. I'll put a picture up so you know exactly the car I'm talking about, but that was my dream car at the moment at age 19. Now, fast forward, I'm 24 years old now. I've learned a lot more things. And I'm like, Tommy, that really wasn't your dream. It was more like the marketing Mercedes, BMW, and Audi, and all these luxury brands actually did to your brain, okay? Let's be real. What happened was, I didn't want this car because, oh my gosh, it's my dream. No, I wanted it because in reality, they sold me the idea that if you drive this fancy car, you're gonna be the guy that gets all the eyes, all of the respect from the guys, and on top of that, you get all the ladies. You know what I'm saying? Let's be real, okay? You get all the ladies, all right? But that's just marketing. It's not real life. And although this is pretty cool to actually drive in this video, I'm gonna tell you how I got this car exactly, all the details, don't worry, and where my Toyota actually is, okay? And more importantly, exactly the pros and cons of trying to have, for example, a fancy car, fancy life, and also trying to build wealth at the same time. So let's get started here, okay? If you guys are new here, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified, you're welcome. And on top of that, also destroying the like button. So now guys, the first thing is this. Let me tell you what I've learned about trying to build wealth while also driving these fancy vehicles, And I learned this lesson when I was super broke, because usually when you're super broke, that's when you're most vulnerable and usually more open to learning new ideas. If you don't believe me, you can have the most stubborn person, most independent, I don't want anybody's help, but the minute they're drowning or something going crazy, they will ask for help because that's just human nature. And when I found myself basically drowning financially, I was like, yo, I need help. And that's when I was open. And I discovered this very simple idea. Rich people collect assets while poor people collect liabilities. Now, again, I was known as Mr. Liability, so this kind of offended me. But I figured out that, hey, this can't be the full story because there are rich people out there that do have liabilities. So what is the full story? The truth is that rich people do collect assets, but they collect assets first. And then when they have so many assets, so much wealth built, then they go ahead and buy some liabilities. But by that point, it doesn't matter if they lose some money on the liabilities. In reality, they can afford to actually lose it. While my counterparts, people that are poor and have these, for example, like poor mentalities, what they usually do, which is me, by the way, Mr. Liability here, they buy liabilities first, and then all those payments, all the expense of having that lifestyle keeps them from actually being able to build any wealth. They buy an expensive house, they can't afford it. They buy an expensive luxury vehicle, they can't afford it. And this prevents them from being actually able to build any wealth. So yes, although this is a very fancy car, and trust me, I love driving it, and trust me also, it's cool going to a gas station and impressing that girl or that person you will never see again, okay? By the way, I am a taken man, by the way, but I'm just being honest here. It's cool, but in reality, it's one of the fastest ways to basically just burn your money and burn wealth. You know how? You can actually turn $35,000, the average cost for this car right here, into $15,000 in the first 5 years, meaning you're losing around 10% on average, a little bit more every single year. And if you're broke, you can't afford to do that, okay? But if you're very rich and very wealthy, you can afford to lose some money because you can afford it. But if you can't, you can't, all right? So that's the main thing. Fancy, but it's not a good way to try to build wealth because it basically liability and it burns your money. So obviously, rich people, they collect assets first, then they buy liabilities. Now you might be wondering, Tommy, well, if you follow what the rich do, this must mean that basically, your boy is rich, right? No, that's not the full story here, and I will break it down. But first, I do want to tell you something that's actually very interesting, okay? Because again, liability, am I rich because I follow the rich and I actually have a Mercedes now, okay? Am I rich? No, that's not the full story. I'll tell you in a second, but first, I gotta tell you this though, okay? Something that Mercedes, BMW, Audi, all those fancy brands don't want you to know. But I'm gonna tell you because I don't care what they want you to know, okay? I just wanna tell you the truth. So here's what they don't want you to know. And I learned this lesson from a guy called Thomas Stanley. Thomas Stanley, you might not know him, but he spent 30 years studying rich people. That was like legit like his job. He wrote books, made a lot of money just studying rich people. So he knows what he's talking about, okay? And he says the average millionaire is not income rich, but in reality, they're actually balance sheet rich, meaning long-term, they spend a lot of time collecting assets, okay? Now, this should give you hope because it means, for example, first-time millionaires, the average millionaire, guess what? They don't come from rich families. They're the first millionaires in their generation. On top of that, they never make over 100K a year. That's very rare in a millionaire, meaning you don't have to have a crazy high income. And on top of that, they just basically spend time collecting assets and doing things step by step so you can do it too. That's the cool thing. Now, not just that, guys. When it comes to buying these fancy cars, you know, Mercedes, all the fancy cars out there have commercials showing you, hey, this is what the rich look like. In reality, it's not true. The rich tend to buy used vehicles, used ones, not new ones, used vehicles. And guess what? They don't buy Mercedes or BMW. No, they don't. They buy Mazdas. They buy Toyotas. They buy Hondas because they care about reliability, safety, and also affordability, okay? To the dollar. Because when you're buying this, it's not like it's super special. It's more like you're paying a premium for the idea it sells people. And not just that, the last thing I learned from this guy, Thomas Stanley, was rich people don't act rich. You know, guys, I'm gonna tell you the secret story I never told anyone. When I was in high school, I started wearing Jordans, and for example, also in college, like buying liabilities, Mr. Liability, I became that person because in reality, all the cool people were buying those same things, and I wanted to also be like them. It's true. These are facts. I'm being honest, guys, okay? But overall, I noticed that basically, those cool people, they weren't really that cool, okay? Some of them were good people, but they were super broke. Some of them were very kind of like grumpy people in a sense, you know what I mean? But in reality, just because you look away, it doesn't mean you actually are what you're actually trying to show people you are. That's the lesson here. So it means that people trying to act rich are poor people usually, you know. By the way, when I say poor, I don't just mean like, hey, you don't make money. I mean also people that make a lot of money, but balance sheet wise, they have a negative net worth because they buy all the things they shouldn't be buying. That's what I mean. So you have these people here barely making a lot of money, for example, but they want to copy the commercials and it's trying to look like what a rich person looks like. But in reality, that's not what the rich people actually look like. They are average. They buy normal homes. They buy used cars and they don't act rich. That's the cool thing, okay? So yeah, and by the way, last fact here, the average millionaire also has a 9-to-5 job. So guess what? You don't need to be Gary Vee. You don't need to be me. You don't need to be anyone out there starting their own business or whatever, okay? You can do it your own way. That's the cool thing. And they don't want you to know this, but now you know this. So why the heck, Tommy, are you driving a Mercedes if you really do believe in all these things? Because in reality, let me tell you a story, okay? My Toyota Prius is a 2014. The brake pump in my car is broken, messed up, needs to be replaced. So the dealer basically took my car back and is going to fix it for free. But because I live, for example, in Puerto Rico, it's going to take a while to actually fix, approximately a month to a month and a half. If I was in the US, it would be, for example, like 3 days or 7 days. And before you say, Tommy, that's why I just don't buy used vehicles because they always break down. It's BS, okay? And it's an excuse to buy something you don't need. Because let's be real, anything with wheels and motors at some point is going to break down, all right? It's just how it works. It's just maintenance. But Tommy, still, why a Mercedes, okay? Where do you get this from? Well, my cousin here in Puerto Rico, he has a company where he actually rents cars to tourists, and they're luxury vehicles. So he had this Mercedes that he's not using right now. He said, Tommy, because he needs to fix a few things here and there. He said, Tommy, use this car and I'll rent it to you for a decent price. So, Tommy, but why not get a Kia for cheaper and get some Mercedes for your cousin? Because in reality, my cousin hooked me up, honestly. I'm paying half of what I would pay for a car right now, Kia, Honda, Toyota, right now to rent it on this island, okay? That's how cheap I'm using this Mercedes right now. So on average, you pay 80 to 100 bucks for a Kia or Honda, Toyota here in the island. I'm paying like half of that. A big discount, okay? So shout out to my cousin. If you guys need a car, you come to Puerto Rico, I'll put a link down below to his social media and also his phone number potentially. You can actually ask him to get you a vehicle. And by the way, luxury vehicles are not cheap. I just got lucky to know my cousin who actually rents cars. So this is a rental. It's not mine. Because again, it's not my time yet to go ahead and buy the Mercedes. Now, I do have to tell you guys something, okay guys? What's a way to actually hack yourself into a fancy luxury car in a smart way? However, guys, something I've learned is while driving this car is that I actually like driving this Mercedes. It is actually pretty cool, pretty fancy. I like the speed. I like it, all right? It's just cool overall. So eventually, I will buy one. However, though, first things first, you know, rich people, they collect assets first and then they buy liabilities. So before I do this, I have a checklist, you know, budget, debt-free except the mortgage, emergency fund, 3 to 6 months, investing always 10 to 20% of my income. And then lastly, also buy a home using the 33% rule on a 15-year mortgage and then pay off that home. And then finally, I can go ahead and buy that fancy car. But even when I buy that car, guys, I'm gonna hack myself into one for half the price and then save a lot of money because it won't depreciate that much. How? Here's how, guys, okay? By the way, people don't talk about this, but it's true. And it's a fact. I took a whole course on this, okay? But overall, guys, look at this, guys, okay? When you buy a luxury vehicle, for example, like the one I'm driving right now, Mecedes GLA class, by the way, this is the one right here. On average, they sell for around $35,753. Now, as you can see here, guys, okay? The car has the highest losses in this chart right here in the first 5 years. That's when you lose the most money. But then the depreciation curve actually just levels out. Look at this, guys, okay? It goes from this to just like this, like more normal, okay? Like you go from losing 10%, more than 10% on average per year to only losing like around 3 to 5%. So it means instead of paying retail $35,000, I can go ahead and buy it on year 5 for $15,000 and then sell it on year 10 for $11,000. Meaning, yes, I will buy a 5-year-old car, but I get to use it and ride it and not lose half my money and then resell it for a good price. And then also this allows me to change cars every 5 years without having to lose half my money every single time. This is the hack. You buy it at the end of the steepest depreciation curve, usually around the 5-year mark to 3-year mark. You buy it then, usually it slows down a lot, and then you're able to just ride around in it, then resell it for a good amount of money, and then buy another car and just change it, repeat, repeat, repeat. Now, I have a rule though. When I buy this fancy car, I will be paying cash for it, and I will buy it used. Now, I know you guys are probably wondering, Tommy, when will you ever give yourself the luxury to actually buy a new car? The answer is when I'm worth $2 to $5 million. But until then, it makes no sense. Because at the end of the day, it takes me to point A to point B. I understand that. So buying a luxury car in the first place is just a want. I get it. So assets first. And if I buy a luxury car, if you see you're buying a luxury car, like brand new, 2021, 2025, whatever it is, all right? Your boy is worth a lot of money. And that's the only way I can justify actually buying a brand new car. But until then, I will be hacking the heck out of it. Now, lastly, if you made it all the way to the end of the video, comment down below, let me know. And I also know you're a part of the long-term team, so I kind of want to give you guys some bonuses just so you know how your boy actually feels right now. In reality, what are the pros of riding around in this Mercedes? Well, first of all, the car goes vroom vroom, okay? It's awesome. It's pretty fast. It's nice. I'm a guy. I like it, all right? I'm gonna be real with you. But overall, it's also cool when people look at you different and so on. Like, it's just psychology, and I get it. Like, I stop myself like, this doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. But it's cool, okay? It's a nice car. It's luxury. You feel nice in it. But what are the cons? Depreciation, gas mileage. It basically drinks the fuel, honestly. Like, my Toyota Prius, it was like I fill it up to the tank, to the top, right? And I get a whole month. This one, I fill it up, and then I gotta basically put more fuel in it by the end of the week. It's crazy, all right? Maintenance, more expensive also. So pros, vroom vroom, fancy. Cons, money-wise, it just basically drains your wallet. And by the way, if you're asking me, Tommy, how long do you plan to keep this Toyota Prius, bro? The truth is, 5 to 10 years. Okay, 5 to 10 years, because I'm still collecting assets, I'm still growing my wealth, and it's a step-by-step process. And you do those things first. You do first, and then when you do the fancy things, you can actually afford to do it. That's the cool thing. And if I'm being honest with you guys, because I know you guys, I feel guilty driving this fancy car. It's like, for example, like eating a cake on a diet. You know it's not good for you. You know you don't deserve it right now. But when you worked out, you feel great, you look great, and you get a little piece of ice cream or cake, it's all right, because you deserve it. But right now, I don't deserve that car, all right? I just got lucky to be renting it right now, but there's no way. I wouldn't be able to handle the guilt, because it's not time just yet, guys, okay? And lastly, bad idea 101. I know you're probably thinking it, Tommy, why not lease the vehicle? That way, like, you don't actually own it and depreciation, blah, blah, blah. Because leasing is one of the most expensive ways to actually drive a vehicle. It's very stupid. If you don't believe me, watch some of Dave Ramsey's videos on car leasing, okay? The guy's not all that bad. He has great content also. So I take from everyone, and I learn from everyone the good things, okay? I leave the bad things out. I'll see you guys tomorrow, though. Thanks for watching. Long-term team. I love you guys. On top of that, also subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified. If you guys want to DM me on Instagram, TommyBryson, or if you want to call me, the link is down below. The times will be changing to 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. pretty soon, so hold up till then. On top of that, also more content here, and here is actually my face. Click it. And by the way, this video right here is how to buy luxury vehicles 101. A whole course I took, and I teach you exactly how to get it done. Peace out, guys.